And now joining us to go all out on this story is none other than basketball analyst Juan Banal. Juan B! Welcome back to Sports S. Let's put you back to work. Are you ready, my friend?
Long time no see, Andre. Love is sweeter the second time around, so I probably expect that this comeback of the PBA is going to be more exciting, I would say.
I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy. Of course, rising COVID cases had to put the league on pause, understandably so. But here we are. Grabe, no? Yung break na to, Juan, kumbaga, nag-break lang saglit, pero parang off-season. So many things happened.
That's true.
Diba? No, it's like, off-season ba? Sabi ko, it's in the middle of the conference. Nag-pause. Ang daming players changing teams, especially because of the unrestricted free agency rule that we felt. So before anything else, tanungin mo na kayo, I want to get your thoughts, by the way, on this rule and how it changed the landscape of the PBA midway into the Governor's Cup.
I would say the timing is awful. I mean, for it to happen, and it wasn't planned. I think the way it was structured, and I'm sure the PBA considered when they planned for the Governor's Cup that this was about to happen. And so when they scheduled the conference, it wasn't supposed to last this long. But then again, unforeseen events happened. And I think they feared this. This could happen, and it's actually happening. I think better this year than it happened. If it was the 2014 draft, I think it's better that it happened now compared to the 2015 draft because that's a richer pool of players. You've got guys like Scotty Thompson. If that happened now, I think that would have really rocked and it would have really shaken the entire league.
Yeah. Well, di ba kasi pag sa NBA, sanay tayo, pag free agency, it happens off-season. Yun yung mga inaabangan di ba? But sabi mo nga, because of the scheduling siguro, and I'm sure the PBA, of course, so who anticipated na magkakaroon ng surge ulit in COVID cases. Let's talk about some of the notable transfers, okay? One of the first players to jump ship after becoming free agent, si Nards Pinto, formerly of the Meralco Bolts, who was, I believe, one of the integral parts in that lineup. And then, he moves to Barangay Ginebra. Let's talk about this move. Do you see Nards Pinto as a perfect fit for Coach Tim Cohn, for that team that they have, especially as they try to address the absence of Stanley Pringle?
I think Nards Pinto was the first domino that fell. I know that because it's still controversial. I mean, Nards Pinto is not, probably a franchise player that people would assume, but he is Nards Pinto, and the contribution that he had in Meralco is very noticeable, especially the turnaround that he had in this conference, in the last two conferences, the change of weight, the role, the amount of minutes, the offense contribution that he's given to the team. And it happened at the time that Aaron Black was injured. So you know the value already of Nards and how he's fully integrated within the Meralco system. And then this change happened. And this is how people knew that, this whole unrestricted free agency is the real thing because this can happen. And Nards Pinto was the first one to do it. And he joined the opposing team, which he's been regularly and been frequently battling in finals, in the finals, in quarterfinals, in postseason. So it's a big deal, I think. And then everyone said, okay, if he can do it, then maybe I should explore my options as well.
Kasalanan pala ni Nards lahat no? Siya nagsimula We've been trying to get him on the show.
He tried to set the trend.
Yeah. Siyempre, ganun lang naman. All it takes is one person to start it. And siyempre, pag free agency, siyempre, di ba?
And the move was a big deal. You're talking about emerging rivalry between Meralco and Ginebra in the Governor's Cup, and he makes that switch to the opposing team. That's a big deal.
Parang if you can't beat them, join them in the ring. I'm sure din naman ganun. But of course, Meralco did manage to get somewhat a replacement for Pinto, signing Chris Banchero, formerly of the Phoenix Super LPG Fuel Masters. Huge loss here for Phoenix. Siyempre, Chris Banchero has been playing his minds out. Ganda-ganda na nilalaro niya para sa Phoenix, especially ngayong Governor's Cup. Parang 5 games, 18 points a game, parang ganyan. But now as a Bolt, ito si Chris Banchero. Let's talk about him, that combination of having him in the backcourt with Chris Newsom, with guys like Bong Quintos also there, Aaron Black. Yung tandem, siyempre nakita natin yung magandang chemistry nila ni Matthew Wright. But having now Banchero in Meralco with Newsome and those guys. How do you see this new look Meralco?
Well, Meralco actually wins. I mean, you'd feel bad for them losing Nards Pinto to Ginebra, but then
Yeah.
again, they gain Chris Banchero and say, okay lang, bawi-bawi. And that's fine. Because Chris
Boy.
Banchero played a tremendous season last conference. He's actually the leading scorer in probably arguably the best player in 2021-2022 PBA Governors Cup, leading the team with 18 points, 3.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 2.4 steals. That's really good numbers, and that's in comparison to having Matty Wright on the floor. So having him as an addition to Meralco speeds up the whole entire squad, which is perfect if you have Chris Newsome and Aaron Black running the floor. I mean, this is a win for Meralco, no
Super.
matter how you look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was speaking actually to the Meralco camp. They're really excited to have and was able to sign Chris Banchero, guy plays defense. It just really is a workhorse on offense as well. Walang reklamo, a great player to have win here for the Bolts. TNT also getting a new player out of free agency. Matt Ganueles roster. Dati na itong sa TNT actually. Napunta sa San Miguel, napunta sa Terra Firma with the trade. Now he's back with the Tropang Giga, this time under Coach Chot Reyes. How do you see MGR fitting into this this system or new culture that Coach Chot, syempre, after winning the Philippine Cup last time?
Yeah, well, MGR is not
Yeah.
new to the Chot system, Chot Reyes system. He did win already a championship with Coach Chot, and he's coming like into full circle. He was, I think, from what I understand, Coach Chot was also the one that recruited him. But more than anything, I think observing how TNT has been playing in this conference, the Governors Cup, they badly need a good defender that can match up against the imports of the opposing team. And I saw them use Ryan Reyes. I saw them use Glenn Cobontin
Yeah.
to match up against towering wing guys that are the opposing imports. And with the addition of Matt Garuela's roster, he'll probably play more of a big forward. And that he has the height for it. He has the athleticism for it. But more than anything, I think the role that he's going to be playing now is he can match up with the imports of the opposing team that are towering over the forwards of TNT.
Tama yan. Tama yung assessment mo kasi MGR is a really good defensive player as well. He can defend imports and alam naman natin, very versatile defender tong si MGR kahit sa locals. Multiple positions he can guard. Let's go to the Northport Batang Pier. Reports say, well, they've acquired Roy Sumang, Alvin Abundo, Chris Dumapig. And of course, that's because the team has yet to sign 3 of their stars. Unang-una na dyan si Robert Bolick, and then Greg Slaughter. You also have Nico Elorde, who hasn't signed yet. Well, just in case, I don't want to jinx the Northport here, but just in case. One, let's go to that worst case scenario for them. Hindi bumalik sina Bolick, Slaughter, Elorde, will Sumang, Abundo, and Dumapig be enough to address this loss, considering, marami pa namang. Of course, Arwin Santos is still there. Jamie Malonzo is still there in Northport.
Yeah, it's like asking the question, Andre, is 1 + 1 2? I think we can know that those are really big shoes to fill. Like you're talking about the #1 scorer in Robert Bolick.
Sorry
you
naman.
got Greg Slaughter, former conference MVP, and then you've got your really good backup point guard in Nico Elorde, and of course these guys like Roy Suma, Alvin Abundo. I mean, with all due respect to them, also,
Of course,
they've kind of left the league already, and they're finding their way back. And this is like another chance for them to really step up and prove themselves that they belong in the PBA. But I mean, just the shoes that they're gonna have to fill in, it's tremendous. You're talking about your top 2. Well, let's talk about Bolick and Greg Slaughter. These are the pillars of Batang Pier right now, and you still haven't closed them. And obviously, Roy Sumang, Alvin Abundo, and just being real about this, and Chris Lumapig will not be enough to fill in those shoes. But I think it's also going to be an opportunity for the rest of the starters of Coach Pido to actually take on that role. But to compare two and two together, that's just difficult. That's going to be an unfair comparison, an unfair pressure to be placed upon Roy Sumang, Alvin Abundo, and Chris Dumapig. But I think it's the rest of the other guys. You've got Arwin Santos. These are the guys that will have to definitely step up. But again, nothing's final. We'll see. I think Northport is just trying to be safe with these picks.
Yeah. But yeah, I get what you mean. Wala naman yatang magkakasya sa sapatos ni Greg Slaughter. 7-footer yung tao.
True naman.
Malaki yung size nun. But anyway, jokes aside, we miss having you once. Don't go anywhere. Stay where you are. Inom ka muna na tubig. Relax ka lang muna dyan. Our all-out discussion with Juan Banal on the reception of the PBA Governor's Cup will continue as several teams make adjustments by recruiting new imports for the conference. Meantime, players from the 2019 Special Gilas Draft finally make the leap to the pros. Juan Banal will still be with us after this short break. For now, let's say, and we still have with us basketball analyst Juan Banal today, and Juan and I have been talking about the resumption of the PBA Governor's Cup. Juan, balik tayo sa Northport. Not only modifying their local lineup, kanina pinag-usapan natin yung local lineup, just in case mawala nga si Nico Elorde, Robert Bolick, and Greg Slaughter. But they're also replacing their import, si Cameron Forte. And with former NBA player Jamel Ardis, what can we expect from Ardis here?
Well, Ardis is a 29-year-old veteran import. He did play in the NBA with the Orlando Magic. He's been joining and jumping from one league to another, in France, Lithuania, Japan, Greece, and he's a good, dependable player. He averaged those 7 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 1.3 assists. But when you really look at it, he's more of a guard forward type of player. I think the experience, the maturity, that's what Batampere will need. Forte was more of a slasher. He's got that unorthodox shots. But it's the mid-range game for this guy. I think more of dependency is what Northport is looking for. And I mean, you're bound to really replace an import if you have been performing the way you're performing, if you're Northport. And so they're hoping it's just the timing. I think they got this import also with Robert Bolick in mind and Greg Slaughter in mind. So I right now everything's up in the air for Northport if this is really going to be a good fit, because the whole landscape all of a sudden changed. You plan for this new import given your current lineup, and then there's just so much uncertainty. So you don't know if he's going to fit in with the new set of players and the role that will be need to be filled. So that's a big question mark for Northport.
Well, let's go to San Miguel naman, Juan. They're also changing imports, tapping former Ginebra reinforcements, Orlando Johnson. Do you see Orlando Johnson as a better fit than Brandon Brown?
I would say they did try to bring in an import who played a lot in the paint. It's just that they just acquired Vic Manuel, and then you have Mota Tua and Junmar Fajardo. So that shaded area got pretty
crowded,
congested, crowded. Yeah. And so this change in import with Orlando Johnson, he did play for Ginebra, although that was the year in 2015 that Ginebra didn't really place well. They lost to I think Alaska in the quarterfinals, but Orlando Johnson did average 33.7 points per game, 11.3 rebounds. So he is more of a wing import, but also helps in getting rebounds, especially those long rebounds. So that kind of dynamics now is a good fit. He's more of a small forward, I would say, as he plays that role for for San Miguel rather. And it's good because they tried an import, didn't work out. He's a good import, nothing against a former import. It's just that the position and the dynamics of with these new additional players in San Miguel dictated the kind of import that they needed to get.
Well, meantime, tungo tayo sa Blackwater bossing. Of course, Blackwater having their struggles here, even before we had the pause. They're replacing Jalen Bond with Sean Glover. Blackwater still, searching for that first win in more than 20 games. Actually lost count, but what can Glover bring to help end that drought, hopefully, for Blackwater?
He's a 31-year-old import, and he's just played in the Icelandic Basketball Association, where he did average 26.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 1.2 steals. I think that and he also had a really good accurate shooting percentage. He was making 60% of his shots, 51.9% from the three. And I think at this point, if you're desperate for a win, you need an import that can really score. Like,
Yeah.
give him the
Yeah.
ball, he can get the job done, regardless of how else the rest of the team plays. He's gonna put in the numbers.
Tama.
And if you're Blackwater, at the very least, if you have that kind of import, you can sleep soundly at night. The rest of the locals will have to probably pick up the slacks, but the slack. But at least your import is already minus the problem or the headache that you need to deal with.
Tama. Tama. Well, balik tayo sa Phoenix. Super LPG Fuel Masters. Kanina we were talking about them. May backup na sila for Paul Harris kasi, well, hindi pa natin alam kung makaka-recover si Paul Harris in time for their first game happening on Sunday. And their backup, we're very familiar. And of course, he's familiar to the NCAA fans. Former San Beda Red Lion, Donald Tangua. Talk about Tangua as part of this Phoenix lineup and what can Tangua add and bring to Phoenix.
You know, it's funny because when I found out about this news, when you look at Donald, doesn't he remind you of a Justin Chua? You know, it's kind of the same kind of players that you're seeing in the big slot, in the big man slot for Phoenix. So it's, I mean, he doesn't have, well, he did
I think
win
mas shooting si
championships
Chua.
with San Beda. Yeah. So he did win 3 championships with San Beda, 2016, 17, and 18.
Yeah.
Although in San Beda he did average 12 points, 7 rebounds, 52 from the field because most of it was in the paint.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you look at it height-wise, you can't really tell. I think out of the available imports that are still here, especially the NCAA and UAP imports, I think he's the best choice. Especially if you're kind of desperate to find an immediate replacement that is already available. I think it's a logical choice. I think he won't really veer away or change the whole dynamics of the run and gun of Phoenix. And the style of Coach Topex, at some point, if you look at it, it's very collegiate level. You know, the approach. It's run and gun, high intensity defense, quick ball. And so Donald won't be really unfamiliar to that kind of system. So I think he is a logical choice. It's just that, again, I feel like you're just looking at another Justin Chua in terms of, yung hulma. Ng player.
Gets. Well, one thing's for sure though, hindi sakit sa ulo to. Dahil napakabait na foreign player tong si Donald Tangua. Of course, his former coach, Jamel Ardis, is also part of the coaching staff. No reason he's there.
Right.
Etong si Tangua. And siguro pinasakit talaga ni Tangua yung ulo ni Coach Topex nung pagkalaban nilang LPU sa NCAA. Kaya kinuha niya to. But anyway, Juan, several players from the 2019 Special Gilas draft are also heading to the PBA now. Pag-uusapan natin, how will they fare with their new PBA teams? Juan and I will talk about that when we return. We'll take another quick break. You're tuned in to Sports Desk, only here on CNN Philippines, where we go all out for the day's top sports stories. Our guest today, basketball analyst Juan Banal. But before we continue our all-out discussion on the resumption of the PBA Governor's Cup this Friday and go back to Juan first, ito, paborito ni Juan itong segment na to. Let's find out the answer to our quiz question of the day. The question I asked earlier was, the PBA held its first special Gilas draft in 2016. Who were the first 5 players selected during that special draft? Juan, I believe 2016 was also a special year for your brother, Jamel Banal. May hula ka dito? I'm sure alam mo to.
I'll try though. But I know I can remember that I think Mac Bello was there. I think Carl Brian Cruz was there. Matthew Wright I think was there also. I'm not so sure with the level, but the Mike Tolomeo was also there. I remember Gio Halalan was there.
Right.
But I don't know if they were the top 5. I just can't remember the placing. But I know for sure Carl Brian Cruz was in the top 5 and probably even Mac Bello. But the rest can't quite remember.
Well, you got 2. Let's find out the correct answers here. And these are the correct answers. Carl Brian Cruz, who was picked by Alaska. Kevin Ferrer, who was selected by Barangay Ginebra. Mac Bello, who went to Blackwater. Von Pesumal, who was chosen by Global Port at that time. And Russell Escoto, who went to Mahindra. And of course, Juan's brother, Ayel, was the number 1 pick during the non-Gilas draft. I remember this particular time. Yeah, naalala ko to. Nandun din yata si Arnold Van Opstal. I remember.
That's right.
It's
a strong group. It's a strong draft year.
Oh, malakas
Strong
yun.
draft year,
Malakas yung year na yun. Well, ahead of the resumption of the PBA Governors Cup 1 this Friday na nga, we also saw 4 of the 5 players from the 2019 Special Gilas Draft sign PBA contracts. Pag-usapan natin, Juan, yung Special Gilas Draft, starting with the number 2 pick, si Ray Suerte, who will now play for the Blackwater Elite. Blackwater bossing, Juan, nandiyan ka pa ba? Ayun.
Yes,
Do you see Ray Suerte as a game changer for Blackwater? Because we've seen him do that when he joined the UE Red Warriors sa UAAP a few years ago.
I did watch Ray Suerte when we did cover the Sisafi tournament.
Yeah.
He played for the UV Green Lancers. He was very impressive already there, and then he did a one and done with the University of the East, and immediate impact. Ray Suerte is coming into the league not as a rookie. If you get what I mean, he's 27 years old. And so he's got that experience already, but he's going to be working closely with Ed Dahiwag and Baser Amer. But Ray Suerte is a scorer. Like, he's a natural born scorer. And right now, basketball is very basic. Put the ball in the hole. And that means score. And for Blackwater to need a win, they need to score. And they brought in and they signed a scorer. And so hopefully, Ray Suerte, I mean, once a scorer is always a scorer, right? So I hope that Ray Suerte finds his immediate groove. We did see some of his, we did see some of him play in the qualifiers, but not as visible as we'd hope he'd be. But he could be an immediate impact for Blackwater.
Oh, ang daming special moments yan. Naalala ko yun, natalo nila yung Lasal sa UAP. He's just an offensive weapon itong si Ray Suerte.
Sure.
Well, just last night, we saw the news that number 3 pick in the Special Gilas Draft, si Matt Nieto, already signed with the NLEX Road Warriors. Let's talk about the addition of Matt to this team, particularly that backcourt, which has missed the services of Kiefer Ravena this season. And we all know how cerebral and talagang point guard itong si Matt Nieto, and how he will help Coach Yang and Lex.
Actually, the Nieto brothers, I mean, if you're any team, you'd be excited to have them on your squad. If you get Matt or you get Mike, but in this case, for NLEX, I think he's just perfect for NLEX. And we can't even say that he's going to fill in the shoes, or at least help fill in the shoes of Kiefer, because Kiefer is a different kind of point guard. But Matt is also, such a brilliant point guard. He can run the floor for you. You probably can give him the ball, be the point guard that he is, and then as a coach, just sit down, let him do the thinking, and let him be the coach on the floor, right? He's just that way, and he really did grow in that Tab Baldwin system, where it's a positionless basketball. Everyone gets to touch the ball, and you make the right decisions, and that has a lot to do with the point guard making those decisions and managing and controlling the game. And I think he fits so well.
Yeah, I think so. I think Coach Yang will also love this guy kasi talagang taas ng basketball IQ nitong si Matt. Meantime,
and that relieves Kevin Alas from having to be the point. He can now score, right?
That's right. Punta naman tayo sa twin brother ni Matt, Mike Nieto. I'm happy for the Nieto family. Mike signed with the Rain or Shine Lasso Painters, and we know Rain or Shine has that solid roster of young players. They have a great core there. What do you expect from Mike Nieto as he joins that group of JV Mocon, Ray Nambatak, those guys?
Parehas eh. They're the same kind of intensity. They're two-way players. They can shoot from the outside. They're go-getters. They're hard on defense. He fits that Rain or Shine. Like I said, I'm happy. Like what you said also, we're both happy for the Nieto brothers because they fell into a team that actually matches their skill, that actually needs their talent. And so this is really props to both of them, and it's a really good blessing.
Finally, let's go to former San Sebastian standout, Alin Bulanadi. This kid, he really can explode on the hard court. And he's signing with the Alaska Aces. How does Bulanadi fit in that lineup, and what Coach Jeff Carriazo is trying to form and run over there in Alaska?
It's interesting because they have so many guards in that lineup already, in the Alaska lineup. And they're scoring guards, and so just we barely saw Alain Bolinadi in the Gilas team. So everyone, especially the Alaska fans, are like, we're not gonna see him. Gilas might as well see him here in Alaska. So everyone's looking forward. Alaska needs a really steady. He's, I think, an immediate impact player. So It's just going to be a chess match type of thing for Coach Jeffrey Carriazo, how he can fit in the minutes of all these guards that he has. So it's interesting to watch. But Lane Bolinadi is somebody to look out for in this coming return of the PBA.
It is exciting. A lot of fans for sure. And we're going to look forward to the resumption of the PBA Governor's Cup. Juan, maraming salamat. Maraming salamat again for joining us. We missed having you here in the show. We'll be having you more as the PBA resumes. Stay safe, my friend. Again, that was basketball analyst
Anytime.
Juan Banal. And